Hi, I'm Sergey, and for your consideration, another unit highlight. Today we will be talking about the Dark Chariot of Gar leadership, the Command Crawler. There is no unit that I have used more often to strike fear into the hearts of my opponents. This is my favorite vehicle in Antares space. Every faction of Gar has access to a Command Crawler. The only difference being that for the Gar Empire, a Command Crawler is a support choice, and for Gar Rebels, it's a strategic choice. A Gar Command Crawler has a very attractive price point at only 242 points. A Gar Command Crawler boasts a brutal stat line. A Command Crawler has an average agility of 5, an average accuracy of 5, a crushing strength of 10, a whopping 13 res, a strikingly high initiative at 8, and an awesome command of 9. Overall, this vehicle is tough and also relatively swift at reacting to different situations. A Gar Command Crawler has a plethora of special rules. The first of which is that the Gar Command Crawler is a limited choice. You can only have 25% of your army consisting of limited choices, and the Gar have a lot of attractive ones. A Command Crawler also obviously has the special rule Command. Any unit, except for an Outcast, that's within 10 inches of a Command Crawler can use its high command instead of their own. Keep in mind that this borrowed command is still affected by the pins on the unit attempting to use it. A Gar Command Crawler also has the Follow special rule. Follow allows any unpinned unit within 5 inches of the Command Crawler to mimic their order. So, if a Command Crawler does a run, then a battle squad within 5 inches can run as well. This is a situationally useful thing that you will definitely find comes in handy. This is one of the few units that has the Leader special rule and is also a vehicle. On vehicles, the Leader rule behaves a little bit differently than on normal units. Instead of re-rolling a res test, vehicle leaders re-roll their vehicle damage results. This means that it's relatively unlikely that this unit is going to be killed outright by almost any amount of fire. A Gar Command Crawler is also large. This means that if it's standing in front of a smaller unit, you can't shoot through it, and it can also shoot over smaller units. This is super useful when you're either screening or supporting a squad. But because they're large, they can't sprint and they suffer going through some terrain. On the subject of not being able to go through terrain, a Gar Command Crawler is a crawler. It's not a suspensored vehicle. This means that it treats itself as a heavy weapons team when moving over obstacles. Hence, it cannot run over obstacles, and it must pass an agility test just to advance over them. Now, this limited mobility is mitigated a bit by the fact that a Gar Command Crawler is mod 2. This means that a Gar Command Crawler puts 2 order die in the bag. That's right, it can run and shoot, or shoot twice, or advance twice, or recover twice. It can do anything. The ability to do something and also recover significantly increases the survivability of this unit. Further increasing the survivability of this unit is the fact that it's so primitive that it's considered Scramble Proof. This means that a Gar Command Crawler is immune to the effects of Scrambler ammo and also the effects of a Subverter Matrix. A Gar Command Crawler also has the special rule Plasma Reactor. This means that if you're struck with a lucky hit and fail your res test on a 10, which is the only thing that is a fail for you, you explode. When you explode, you must immediately roll on the vehicle damage chart, treating it as if you had been hit by a massive damage weapon. This means that you roll on the damage chart twice, taking the more damaging effect. It should be noted that in a Gar Empire list, you may not take any support or strategic options unless you take a Gar Command Crawler or a Gar High Commander. This means that all larger Gar Command armies are probably going to be running a High Commander or a Command Crawler, and this is my personal favorite choice for that. As if it wasn't awesome enough having all those special rules and that awesome stat line, a Gar Command Crawler comes base with 2 Scouring Cannons, the coolest weapon in Antares space. This weapon has 3 distinct firing modes, all of which you're going to find exceptionally useful. The first firing mode for this awesome weapon is Dispersed. Dispersed shots have an effective range of 20, a long range of 30, and no extreme range. They are strike value 2 and rapid fire 3. This is going to be your go-to for clearing out low-res squads like Ferals or Gar Outcasts. The second form of fire is called Concentrated. It has an effective range of 20, a long range of 30, and an extreme range of 40, so it has a longer range than the other modes of fire. It's also strike value 4, so if you're trying to take out a Hazard squad or a Sonra Taurus squad, this is your go-to. The final mode of fire is my personal favorite, and I would say probably the one you're going to want to use the most. Disruptor. This final firing mode is strike value 1, it's blast D4, it has the no cover special rule, and also the disruptor special rule. It has effective range 20, long range 30, and no extreme range, just like Dispersed. When a unit is hit with a disruptor weapon, they take 2 pins, even if they're heavily armored. This disruptor technology is Gar's primary weapon against very heavily armored targets. Disruptor ammo does not work on Gar. It still does damage to them, but it doesn't add the extra pin. All of this makes this an incredibly versatile weapon. No matter what situation you're in, you're gonna feel like you have the right tool. There are also a few upgrades you can take with a Gar Command Crawler. For 10 points, you may upgrade a Gar Command Crawler from Leader 2 to Leader 3. If you want to talk about invincibility, you can also upgrade your Gar Command Crawler to a High Commander for 20 points. High Commander allows you to propagate your command and follow abilities to outcasts. This is extremely useful as outcasts have a notoriously horrible command. It also allows you to use your vehicle leader rule on all failed res tests. This makes you beefy. For 5 points, you can give a Gar Command Crawler Plasma Dump. A Gar with a Plasma Dump, when they are given a down order, not as a reaction or not being forced down, may release their Plasma Dump. While a unit's active order remains down, enemies have -2 to hit it due to the roiling plasma. When a Plasma Dump is released, any unit within 5 inches is struck by the exhausted plasma. This causes a D6 strike value 2 hits. It also causes a pin, even if a unit is heavily armored. The dump's effect immediately ceases as soon as down is no longer your active order. So for mod 2 units, if you go down and then do a fire order later, as soon as you do that fire order, the dump is no longer in effect. Overall, this is a very interesting upgrade, and it's really one of the only small upgrades that the Gar have. So if you got 5 points left over, this might be something to think about. We saved the best for last. You are going to take this upgrade. For only 10 points, you can give your Gar Command Crawler a Plasma Amp. At the beginning of any turn, a unit with a Plasma Amp can declare that they are activating that amp. This adds an extra order die to the bag for that unit, effectively making a Gar Command Crawler Mod 3. A Mod 3 Command Crawler is a vicious juggernaut of a unit, spreading pins and plasma all across the field. If an amped unit attempts to use an amp order die and fails an order test on a 10, the amp is destroyed. You can no longer use it and you remove the die from the bag immediately. You also take D5 pins when this happens. You really don't want this to happen, but it's also not that likely. If you don't have to make an order test in order to accept an order, this can't happen to you, so don't worry about it. At the end of a turn, when you have an amped unit, you must roll a D10. On a 1 through 5, the amp burns out and is destroyed. On a 6 through 10, it remains in play, meaning that you're going to continue being Mod 3 into the future. You may also voluntarily turn off your amps whenever you want if you're worried about retaining that extra die towards the end of the game. You're gonna take this upgrade. It's 10 points and it massively increases your unit's effectiveness. I almost always feel a Guard Command Crawler in my Gar armies. It's cheap, it's insanely tough, it's insanely reliable, and it's a terror weapon. It spreads pins like nothing else. Model-wise, this is a super cool unit. It's essentially 3 space goblins and a mecha scorpion. Who wouldn't like that? It's also just got a lot of personality. The expression on each little Gar in the vehicle is super emotive, and it's just a really neat, posable model. We hope you find this video informative, and if you did, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you. Don't forget to ring the bell so you get notifications every time one of our videos hits the fan button. As always, we have to thank our fine patrons. You guys are the butter to our bread. Want to purchase this model? Click the link below the video and a small commission will go to support the Tabletop Warlords.